All right, let's start in a seated position on the mat. We're going to work on a lot of openers today so that we can feel a little bit more flexible as we go through the rest of the week. So we're going to sit with one foot in front of the other, doesn't matter which, because we'll switch it up halfway through. And before we get started, I want to just set the intention for the rest of the week and create a sense of calmness, a sense of stillness, and that way we could go throughout the rest of our week with a sense of purpose. So what I want you to do is sit up as tall as you can and lift through the rib cage. So oftentimes when we're in this position, we have the tendency to slouch over. So I want you to really lift through the rib cage. And now we're going to, I don't care how you do it, but what a good way to do it is to bring your index and middle finger together, bring your pinky and ring finger together, and then press straight up where your eyebrows end. And then we'll use our thumb and our pinky to close off different nostrils. So we're going to use our thumb against our nostril closest to the thumb as we inhale. And then we'll close off with our pinky that nostril as we exhale on the other side. Then we'll inhale on the same side. And then we'll close off the nostril where our thumb is and exhale on the opposite side. Inhale here. And then switch nostrils, exhale. Inhale, switch nostrils, exhale, inhale, and continue switching nostrils after every inhale so you exhale and inhale on the same side, switching as you breathe. You can breathe at your own rate, but as you're doing this, I really want you to just focus on the breath. Take this moment to connect yourself with the present moment. Connect yourself with your breath. Take your to-do list, leave it outside. It'll still be there when you get back. And then bring the hands down to the knees, palms down, drop the shoulders away from the ears, close your eyes. Set an intent for the class, but also set an intent for the week. So perhaps you want to go through the rest of your week a little bit more mindfully, or maybe you want to be a little bit more motivated. So set an intention for yourself. But be kind in your intentions. Take another inhale and exhale. We're going to do some more breathing exercises. So I want you to place your hands right where your ribs separate. Place your hands there, and I want you to exhale forcefully. Keep exhaling so that you're pulling, it's almost like you're pulling your belly button up towards a little higher on your spine behind you. You'll feel that open up, and then exhale. Press, inhale, open. Let your abdominals relax, open up, and then exhale forcefully, pressing all of the air out. Feel the definition in your ribs, and then inhale again. Exhale, pull the belly button in towards the spine, and then inhale, just relax through your whole core. One more exhale forcefully. One more inhale naturally. Palms back to the knees. And we're just going to start with a shift to the right. When we shift to the right, we're pressing our left hand against our left knee. We're going to hold it here. And we're going to exhale. Use our exhales to open up through the side of the hip. So as you exhale, try to press down a little bit more on the left knee, creating a little bit more space between your left hip and your bottom rib. And you might find after a couple exhales that you can actually lean farther to the side. Just keep creating that space, opening to the side of the hip. Might feel it a little bit in the lower back as an opening, not as something that's painful. And then bring it up to center. And this time as you inhale, I want you to lift through the rib cage, almost like you're getting lighter on your sits bones. Exhale, get heavy. Inhale, lift through the rib cage. Sit up nice and tall, and then exhale, get heavy. One more, inhale, lift. And now as you exhale, we're going to shift to the left. As we shift to the left, we're pressing our right hand against our right knee. Keep shifting, creating that space, opening up between the rib cage and the hip, And as you exhale, try to relax those muscles. So you're using your inhale to bring awareness to the muscle group. You're using your exhale to really open up, creating a little bit more space, relieving any tension with your breath. Sometimes we hold tension and we don't even know it. So just keep holding. And then we'll bring it back up to center. As we do, let's lift through the rib cage, get heavy again. Lift through the rib cage, get heavy. We're going to increase our side stretch by bringing our right hand to the right side of the mat. Left arm comes up and over. And again, we're pressing the left hip down against the mat by pushing through our right hand. Left arm is up and over, really increasing that space. And again, as you exhale, drop the left hip more towards the mat. And as you inhale, lift the left side of the rib cage up a little bit higher, creating a little bit more space. And if you want to add on to that, you can bring the elbow back slightly, opening your chest to the front of the room just a little bit more. Nothing crazy, just keep breathing. And bring it up. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So left hand comes out to the side, right arm reaches up and over, increasing the space between our rib cage and our hips, pushing our left hand into the mat so that we can push our right hip to the floor. Then if you want, open up to the front of the room, really lifting, using your exhale to increase that space. Find tension in your body and try to relax it. Some tension will stay if you have an injury or something, or you have some tightness from doing a workout the day before. Sometimes you can't just mentally relax that muscle, but you can a little bit. We're just looking for places that we can open. And bring it up to center. Let's switch feet so the other foot is in front. So tuck in one side, bring the other foot to the front, shift side to side, hands to the knees. And now we're going to do some rolls. So as we exhale, we're working our way down and forward. As we inhale, we're coming up to the other side and bringing it up. Exhaling down, inhaling up. And every time we make a round, we want to see if we can play with our range of motion. See if we can go a little bit farther than we went before. But as we do so, I want you to pay attention. Where does it feel tight? Where do you feel tension? And change directions when you're ready. Make sure to follow your breath, inhaling on the way up, exhaling on the way down. And don't be afraid to push a little bit past those limits. So maybe you always stop in a certain place. Try going a little farther to the side or a little bit farther forward. You might surprise yourself. One more round. And then bring it up to center. We're going to open through our shoulders. So you're going to bring the backs of our hands to the side of our lower back so that our wrists are right about our mid-axillary line, right down the side. And then sit up as tall as you can comfortably, leaning back on your sits bones slightly so that we're not leaning forward. And as you exhale, draw your elbows towards one another. So it's almost like you're trying to touch your elbows in the front of your body. Obviously that won't happen, but they're moving in that direction. You should feel an opening through the shoulders. At this point, we tend to lift the shoulders towards the ears, so I want you to use your exhale to drop the shoulders away from the ears. And just breathe here. This is a gentle class today. It's gentle opening. Take another deep breath and then release your hands. We're going to open through the neck. So right ear to the right shoulder, left shoulder drops down. See if you can't touch the floor. Bring it up to center, right ear to right shoulder, left ear to left shoulder, jump the right shoulder down. So I mirror when I teach. So if I say right, like raise your right hand, I'm actually raising my left hand, which makes me a bear to drive with. Somebody will say turn left, and I have no idea what that actually means. So if you hear me getting my left and right confused, it's because I'm mirroring. Bring it up to center. Right ear comes to the right shoulder again. Now we're bringing our right hand up to the left side of our temple, and we're just gently pulling down. We're not pulling down with all of our might. We're just allowing the weight of our arm to help open up through the side of the neck. And then again, we'll drop our left shoulder down. You feel a little bit more of a stretch into the side of the neck. This one's important because we don't do this motion in everyday life very often. So it's important to keep those muscles flexible by doing those stretches. Bring it back up to center. And now we'll bring the left ear to the left shoulder. Left hand comes up to the right side of the temple, gently pulls down. Then right arm drops down so that the shoulder and the ear are as far apart as they can get comfortably. Again, we're not pulling our head. We're just allowing the weight of our arm to passively pull the ear a little bit closer to the shoulder. And bring it up. All right, we're going to bring the hands behind the back. But first, we're going to take our middle finger and our thumb. We're going to wrap it around our wrist behind the back. We're going to sit up as tall as we can, roll the shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades. You should feel those muscles working. Now we're going to look up slightly, tuck the chin in. Now the back of your neck is working. So your upper back and the back of your neck are working. And we're hinging forward from our hips, trying to drop our chest to the floor, keeping our shoulders open. So we should be feeling an opening through the chest and the front of the shoulders, but we should feel our upper back and the back of our neck actually working. And we should feel the front, the leg that's in the front, we should feel that hip opening slightly too. It's not a contest of how far we can get to the floor. You might be able to lay on the floor, but you might only be able to reach a little bit farther forward than you were when you were sitting upright. They're all fine. As long as you feel an opening in the front of the shoulder, in your chest, as long as you feel your upper back working and your hip opening slightly. Bring it back up to center. And now we're going to switch feet, and we're also going to switch hands. So now we're going to bring our right hand, wrap it around the left wrist, thumb and middle finger, pull the shoulders back, lift through the chest, pull the shoulders back, engage the upper back muscles, tuck the chin in, keep the chin up, and start to extend forward. The only difference in this is that you'll feel the other side of your hip opening gently. Breathe here, lean forward. You might find that you can't go as far on this side, or you might find that you went down a little bit farther. But let's use our exhale to seek out any tension in our body and try to relax it to get maybe a little bit farther forward. Maybe not. This is the start of class, so sometimes we're less flexible at the beginning of class than we are at the end. And bring it up gently, roll out the wrist. And we're going to bring it to our hands and knees. So now we're going to be flat back pose, looking forward. When we look forward, we're using the back of our neck because our natural tendency is to allow gravity to work and drop our head down. So we're using the back of our neck to look forward. And now I want you to drop your chest between your shoulder blades slightly. You should feel your upper back working as well. As you're in this position, you're going to keep dropping down, belly button to the floor, lift the tailbone up and look up. Hold it here in cow pose. Keep working, keep trying to work that belly button down to the floor. Keep trying to look up to the ceiling and lift the tailbone up as high as you can. And now we're going to exhale and start lifting in the opposite direction. So through the center of the spine, raise it to the top of the ceiling, look down, chin comes towards the chest, tailbone turns under. Hold this pose. And as you do so, keep lifting through the center of your spine. And you should feel, or you might feel, your abdominals working. So as you keep lifting, as you keep turning the tailbone under, your lower abs should be working right now. Even if you don't feel it, they're working. Hold it here. Now let's flow between the two. So we're going to inhale down into cow. Make sure we're lifting the tailbone up as high as we can, looking up as high as we can. And then exhale to cat, lifting up through the center of the spine, dropping the head, dropping the tailbone. Keep flowing between these two with your breath. So you're moving as fast as you are breathing. Since I'm talking, I might be moving at a different speed because I'm not actually breathing. So don't worry about how fast I'm going. Just follow your own breath. Couple more of these. And then from here, we're going to touch our big toes together, turn our knees out slightly towards the sides of our mat. Sit back towards our heels, extend our arms forward and look forward as well. When we look forward in child pose, we're helping the back of our neck, the curvature of our upper spine. It's so important to maintain that good curvature, especially in our culture where we spend time looking at phones, driving, computers. We start to lose that curvature. So any chance we can get to try to regain that natural curvature of our spine is so important. But we also want to, this is called extension of the neck. So we also want to balance that out with flexion of the neck. So from here, we're going to bring our forehead or the top of our head to the floor. We're going to walk our hands back towards our feet, palms to the air, and hold it here. Take a few deep breaths. Equate yourself with the present moment. This is helping to open up through the lower back, through the upper back. And the more we try to draw our shoulders down towards the floor, the more we're opening up through the upper back. But in this position, this is a flexed pose. We're flexing at the front of the hip. So we want to try to open through the front of the hip. So we're going to balance this flexion with a hip extension. So we're going to bring our hands forward again. We're going to roll forward so that we're on our hands and knees. We're going to bring our knees underneath our hips again. Walk our hands a little bit farther forward and start to gently lower down to the floor, belly first. And then look at your hands. Fingertips should be in alignment with the front of the shoulders. Feet are on the floor. And look up. So we're doing that neck extension again. And then we're going to slowly press up, looking up until you feel you're right out of that comfort zone range of motion. You don't want to put any undue strain on the lower back. So this is a high cobra position. This might not feel comfortable to you. Before you give up on this pose entirely, try walking your hands a little bit farther forward. You might find a little bit more relief, or lower down in the pose so more of your belly's on the mat. Keep looking up, but we're opening up through the hips. And then exhale, drop down. From this position, we're going to go right into another flex or extension pose. We're going to go into bow pose. So we're going to start out with a half bow. So we're going to reach our left arm forward, our right knee is bent, and our right hand's going to come back and grab that right foot. So we want the palm of our hand against the top of our foot. I like to grab on the outside. You might prefer to grab on the inside of your foot. Some people like to grab on the top. I'm not judging. Do what you feel. And from this position, play around with your range of motion. Move your knee from one side to the other. See how far you can get as you take it to the side and back. See how far you can get, close you can get your heel to your glute. And then from here, we're going to begin the lifting process. So I want you to push your foot backwards as your hand resists. As you do so, your leg is going to naturally raise up. So keep pushing your foot into your hand and raise it up. So half of your leg, or one of your legs, not half of your leg, your whole leg, your whole right thigh should be off of the floor, hip bones still touching, opening through the front of the shoulder, using your legs pressure to help open up through the front of the shoulder. And release, drop it down, relax through the foot, reach the right arm forward, left leg's going to come back, left arm's going to come back and meet that foot. And we're going to start just looking at our range of motion here. So pull your knee towards the side, pull your foot towards the side, pull it more towards the right side, kind of go back and forth. See how close you can get your heel to your glute. This should feel really good opening up through the quadricep muscles. If you are doing squats on Thursday, this is a great stretch to counteract the squat motion. And then from here, find your center, push your foot into your hand, raise up so your hip is flat against the floor and your leg is slowly lifting. We're opening through the front of the shoulder. Breathe here, keep your chin up. Try not to hang your head, keep pressing into your hands. Keep holding that steady pose. This is a half bow pose. Take one more deep breath, and as you exhale, release. Drop the foot down, reach the other arm forward. And now I want you to bring your nose down towards your mat. Relax through the back of the neck. Take a few deep breaths, relax through the lower back. And then from here, we're going to do full bow pose. So we're going to bend both knees, both arms come back. See if you can't grab your toe. Now, if this isn't happening for you, you could always grab a towel, a band. This is my jacket. Probably easier if I just do it like this. And then whenever you lay down, you can actually use that to pull your feet back. So you can wrap your feet in your towel and then pull back that way. So this is one variation. I'm sure there was an easier way to wrap the rope around your feet. I chose the hardest. So that's one modification. But if you can grab both feet, hold on to them, and then look forward, lift through the chin, press the feet into the hand, lift up, look up. Keep pressing the feet back away from your body. Use your hands to resist that pressure. Breathe and hold. Get as much of your leg off of the floor as you can today. One more deep breath. Inhale, exhale, and before you let go of your feet, drop down, pull your heels towards your glutes. And let's try it again. So let's take a deep breath in, and on our exhale, we're going to lift. Inhale, lift a little higher. Hold it here, look up, lift the chin, pull, breathe, and release fully. Let's push back, sit back into child's pose. So that was a spinal hyperflexion in the lower back, or hyperextension in the lower back. So we always want to balance that out. The spinal flexion just to relax through the lower back. So take any child pose that you prefer. And from here, we're going to do a needle and thread. So we're bringing the right hand underneath the left shoulder, right shoulder down to the floor, right ear to the floor, palm up on the right hand. Hold it here, open through the back of the shoulder. And if you're not really feeling much of a stretch, you can actually try looking forward and rolling more onto the arm. So you're leaning more towards the left. You might find your right shoulder opening a little bit more in the back. We open through the front of our shoulders when we do bow pose. We're opening the back of the shoulders in this position. From here, reach that arm forward, and left arm comes underneath the right shoulder, left shoulder to the floor, left palm to the ceiling, ear to the floor. And at this point, assess if you feel an opening. If you don't, you can try rolling forward a little bit more, rolling more towards your right to open more through the left shoulder. Hold it here and breathe. And then release when you're ready. Coming back to your hands and knees, we're going to get into perfect downward facing dog for your lower back. So let's drop down first into cow pose. And I want you to hold your cow looking up at the ceiling, really working to raise the tailbone up. So get out of the comfort zone. We're not just going into those places that we fall into easily, but we want to really lift through the tailbone. From here, we're going to turn the toes under, begin pushing through the hands so that our hips raise. You might have to adjust where your hands are. This mat is really slippery, so if I fall on the floor, it's okay to laugh. Lift the tailbone up. Knees are bent here. So with your knees bent, you can lift the tailbone up as high as you can, and then you can start working to straighten the legs. But make sure you don't straighten your legs until you feel that your tailbone is pointed up and you don't lose that upward point. That protects your lower back. Looking forward here, hold it here, opening through the backs of the legs. Take a deep breath. And then from here, we're going to enter pigeon pose. So we're going to rock forward slightly. We're going to bring the right leg forward, and we're going to dip our hip down. So from this pigeon pose, I'm in a high pigeon right now. My hands are on the floor, close to my knees. I'm looking up, I'm pulling my shoulder blades towards one another, squeezing the spine, engaging my upper back, lifting through the chin. And you might feel a number of different things happening right now. Number one, you might feel a stretch in the right glute, so the back of the hip. Number two, you might feel a stretch in the front of the hip on the left side, that's your hip flexor. If you feel any sort of pain or joint discomfort, what I want you to do is rock to your side so that the whole side of your upper right thigh is flat against the mat. At this point, you're still in a pigeon pose. You're just in a modified pigeon pose. So find the pigeon that works for you, whether you're in high pigeon, modified pigeon, and then once you get there, do that mental checklist that we worked on earlier. Use your inhale to find tension in your body. Use your exhale to try to relax that tension. I always hold tension in my abs for this one. So as I exhale, it's my goal just to relax through the abs. So breathe into it. We're going to keep our pigeon high instead of going even lower into it. And now we're going to do a rotation move. So we're going to keep our left foot glued to the mat. Our left foot bends. So left hand is glued to the mat. Left foot bends. Right foot sweeps around, and we grab that toe again. So we're just holding this position, straight arm. If you want to start to bend the elbow and pull backwards, you certainly can. And if you're on your side, it's going to look a little bit more like this. So we're pulling up. You decide though if you're on your side or on like in a higher pigeon. And then if you want to try sliding the left foot backwards just a little bit, you might feel a little bit more of an open in front of your leg. And release when you're ready. Both hands come down to the mat. We're going to tuck the left toe under. Right toe steps back so that we're in a high plank position. Hold your high plank. Pull your chest down between the shoulder blades. Keep holding this position. If that gets to be too much, you can also drop down to a modified plank. Regardless of which plank you're in, you want to make sure that your wrists are underneath your shoulders. You're looking forward so we're not hanging our head down. And if you're in a modified plank, just like I am here, sometimes it's better to bend your knees, pulling your heels back towards your glutes so that you're at the base of your quadricep muscle, not on the kneecap itself. If you're holding a high plank, try playing with your distance with your feet. So you could step your feet farther apart, gives you a little more balance, or bring your feet closer together. We've been in a plank for a while, so we just drop down to the knees, step back into child. Pigeon pose is a slight back bend, especially when we're in high pigeon. That's an extension. So we're balancing it out like we do with a flexion pose. And child's pose is one of my favorite flexion poses for the lower spine because it's easy and you can relax. But use your mind here to go through your body, see if there is any tension. And as you exhale, just relax. Mentally relax that muscle. In some really uncomfortable poses, just like some uncomfortable aspects of life, where we feel tense through the whole thing, but there's always something that you can release. Maybe it's just your hands, or it's your jaw or your forehead. We find something to relax. Now from here, we roll forward, return to cow pose, lift the tailbone up to the ceiling, lift the chin, lift the forehead, toes press under, and we return to downward facing dog. Lift through the hips. Push through the hands, squeeze the shoulder blades together, looking forward. Don't let your head hang down. Make sure tailbone's lifted. And your belly button, try to relax through the abs. You're going to feel your belly button kind of pull back towards your spine. Then from here, we're going to go into pigeon on the other side. So we're gently going to rock forward. Bring the left foot up towards the front of the mat. The knee is bent. Right foot goes flat on the mat. Pull the shoulder blades back. Look up. Hold it here and just do a quick assessment. Where do you feel tension? Where do you need to release? Do you feel tension somewhere? You might feel opening, stretching through the glutes on the left side, as well as the hip flexor on the right side. Here's the deal though. This is a stretch for the glute on the right, or the glute on the left, hip flexor on the right. But what we're doing with the opposite muscle is we're strengthening because we're contracting that muscle. So for example, right now I'm opening through my right hip flexor. That's the front of the hip right here. If I'm opening through the right hip flexor, that's stretching it. That means I'm contracting my right glute. And by working to contract that right glute just a little bit more, you might feel a little bit more of a stretch in the front hip flexor. on the other side of my body, on the left side of my body, I'm opening through the left glute, but my leg is bent, which is flexing my hip flexor. Now we keep our hip flexors flexed all the time, just from sitting and when we walk and we lift our leg. So opening through the hip flexors is more of a goal just for the types of things that we do every day. If we were caterpillars, it would be an opposite problem. But we're not caterpillars. All right, from here, we're going to do a rotational move. So the right hand stays glued to the mat. Right foot starts to come backwards. See if you can reach your left hand around. Find your foot. Hold it here, and you're going to feel an opening through the front of the right thigh. And then if you want to try sliding that right knee backwards a little bit more, you can. Feel that stretch enhance. Opening the chest to the back of the room. Try to breathe into it. Now this one's one of the ones where it's very uncomfortable for me. So this is the point where I have to tell myself to relax other things, like relax my hands, relax my face. But work on it. Find something to relax. And then drop the foot down. We're going to slide the other foot back as we bring it back to our hands and knees. We're going to arch our back into cat and cow as we breathe. So we exhale into cat, inhale into cow, and keep following your breath as you move through those motions. I just realized I have no idea what time it is. I'm going to grab my phone really fast. Oh, good. We have plenty of time. All right, from this position, we're going to, again, bring the right foot forward as if we're entering pigeon pose. And then slide the left foot back. So we're in a high pigeon, but now we're going to work to get into a lower pigeon. So our hips are a little bit more warmed up than they were when we did our first pigeon. So I'm going to invite you a couple different levels here. You can either walk your hands forward a little bit to get lower. You can drop down to the elbows, or you can drop your belly all the way down to the mat. So you find the lower version of pigeon that works for you. You could be on your forearms so that your elbows are underneath your shoulders looking forward. You can really reach forward. I'm trying not to touch the floor outside of my mat. So I'm going to stay right here. But hold on to this lower pigeon and then really try, no matter what position you're in, to relax and drop the chest down towards the mat just a little bit more. So keep dropping that chest down. And now as you inhale and exhale, focus on relaxing through the lower back, relaxing through the abdominals. Find a place where you're holding tension and then exhale, use it to relax. Whenever you relax muscles, especially in the lower body in this position, you're going to feel the stretch get a little bit more intense. And then gently walk out of that pose. Bringing your hands up into your high pigeon. That should feel a little bit like a release. And then slide your legs back. So you're on your hands and knees again. Give me a couple cat and cows with your breath. Not too many. I'm going to get into the other side of our pigeon. And now we're going to slide the left leg forward. However you want to do that. Slide the right leg back. So we're in position 1, high pigeon. Should feel a little bit better than the first time you did it. And now I invite you to find your lower version. So you can walk your hands out, see what feels good. You can drop down to your elbows, or you can fully extend over your thigh. Find what works for you. And then start working to bring your chest down to the mat. And then use your exhales to relax through the hips, the lower back, the abs. Notice as you find muscles to relax, how the pose feels in your body. You might feel a little bit of a shift. You might feel that you've released tension that you didn't even know you had. So we're seeking out tension. Sometimes you have to go over a muscle group a couple times to really relax it. And don't forget your face. Always forget to relax our foreheads and jaws. Take another deep breath here. And then gently release from that pose by walking your hands up. This should feel a little bit better, a little less of an intense stretch. And then we're going to rock on our side and bring the soles of our feet together in front of our body. Sit up nice and tall, holding onto our ankles, shifting right side, left side, lean forward. And there's a difference between rounding out the back to get farther forward and pulling our hands against our ankles to pull the shoulders back and straighten up through the back. So hold it here, pull forward. Feel that opening through the inner thighs. Take a few deep breaths here. Our inner thighs are really working hard whenever we do balance exercises. So this is a great one to do just to release some of that tension. But also if you find that your hamstrings are tight and you can't touch the floor without bending your knees and things like that, it could stem from your inner thighs being too tight. And you can tell immediately if your inner thighs are too tight by taking your thumb on the inside of your knee, the top part of your knee where it kind of has a little bump. If you press there and you feel tightness, try it on both sides. If you feel tightness there as you kind of massage around, I think your inner thighs might be a little bit on the tight side. Or your sartorius muscle, which kind of crosses over to the outside of your hip. So if it's that one, you're going to feel it closer to the top of that knob. But if you feel just general tightness in this whole circle, that means that your inner thighs might be a little bit on the tight side. Go ahead and relax that pose. And now we're going to slowly walk our hands back with the soles of our feet still together. Our hands are back. And I want you to move your tailbone through your cat and cow position. So right now, we're going to lift the tailbone up towards the ceiling, which means we're rounding out the lower back towards the mat. And that is an exhale. And on your inhale, we're going to open the chest, drop our belly, or open or lift our belly, look all the way up. So this would be cow pose from cobbler's pose. So cat spine as we exhale. This is cobbler's pose with our feet together. And then cow pose as we inhale and open. So roll through your cat and cow with the soles of the feet together. Really opening up through the lower back. Couple more breaths. I really like this one because if you have L4, L5, L5, S1, or sacral iliac issues, it's a really nice way to just kind of work through your range of motion there to see where it is. From here, we're going to bring our knees together. We're going to bring our arms forward, and we're back rolling down to the mat, one vertebrae at a time, finishing with our head. And from this position with our knees bent, we're going to lift our hips up to the ceiling. And now I want you to turn your tailbone up to the ceiling and then gently, one vertebrae at a time, roll back down onto the mat. You might have to adjust where your feet are on the mat. So you might want to step back towards your behind. You might want to step away from the body. Find what works for you, and then exhale, lift up. Turn the tailbone up towards the ceiling. You're going to feel your lower abdominals work, and then one vertebrae at a time. Drop it down. And you should feel your abs working whenever you lift your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Let's do it again. Raise it up, turn the tailbone up, and then drop down. Keep that tailbone up. Keep working. Turn that tailbone towards the ceiling, one vertebrae at a time, and keep rolling through that. This is a great way to open up through the lower back. If you've spent a lot of time in a seated position anytime lately, this is a good way just to relieve some of that tension that we put on the lower back. One more lift, tailbone up, one vertebrae at a time. From here, we're going to cross the right ankle over the left thigh. With our right hand, we're just going to press the knee away from our body. Hold it here. If you don't feel any type of stretch, That's awesome. That means that you're pretty open in the hip. And now we're just going to gently let our leg droop down to the left. See if you can't get your foot touching the floor. And once you're in that position, try working the knee towards your feet or towards your left foot. So you might feel a weird opening kind of through the side of your hip. Take a few deep breaths here. And then gently release from that position. Pull both knees in towards the chest. Rock it side to side. Bring the feet down. Again, we're going to do a couple hip raises. So we're lifting the hips, turn the tailbone to the ceiling, one vertebrae at a time. Roll it down. 2 more of these. Exhale, lift. Inhale, drop down. 1 more. Remember, keep that tailbone up. You're going to feel an immediate difference when you're working to keep the tailbone up, especially in the lower abdominals. From here, we're going to cross the left foot over the left thigh, or over the right thigh. And now we're going to use our left hand to press that knee away from our body. I think I have T-Rex arms. I can barely reach my leg. If you have a yoga block, you could also use that. And now we're gently going to drop our foot down to the right side. See if your foot doesn't touch the ground. And then breathe here. Breathe into it. You might feel the stretch in the side of your hip. You might feel it on one side and not the other. That means there might be some imbalance or strength difference. And again, I always say this. If you have any imbalances or notice anything funny in any of these poses, you can always send me an email and we can set up a time that I can Zoom meeting you and help you stretch it out. From here, try to work that knee towards the end of your mat. And when you're ready, you can release that pose. Pull both knees in towards the chest. We're going to go into happy baby. Happy baby, you can hold your feet on the inside or the outside. It's up to you. We're just lifting the feet up to the ceiling and trying to get our tailbone down to the floor, pulling our knees down to the floor. Now, if we want to get a little bit of an opening through the back of our shoulder, right in between the shoulder blades, push your feet up to the ceiling and let your arms be passive as you grasp your shoulders. You might feel a little bit more of an opening there. You might find yourself rocking from side to side. Take a few deep breaths here. Again, find somewhere that you hold tension, then exhale, release. Inhale, look for tension. Exhale, release it. And then pull the knees towards the body, rock side to side. We're going to do some spinal twists here. So we're going to extend our right leg, keeping our left knee bent. We're going to pull it over the right side of the body. Left arm reaches out to the side, and we're going to look to the left as we try to work that knee down towards the floor. Don't force it. And then use your inhale to look for any tension that you might be holding in your body, and use your exhale to relax it. So you might be holding tension in your abs. Really release your abdominals, lower back. And then you can gently let go of that foot if you want to. And you can try to straighten the leg if you choose. Inhale, look for tension. Exhale, relax it. One more inhale. One more exhale. And then bend both knees. Pull the knees in towards the body. Again, rock side to side a little bit. It's always nice to do a reset when you do a spinal twist where you're doing the same thing with both legs. Now we extend the left leg out. Open the right arm out to the side. Right leg crosses over left as we look to the right, relaxing our shoulder down to the floor. Find something to relax here, working the knee down towards the floor. Relax your face, relax the shoulders. But most importantly in this pose, relax through the abdominals. At this point, if you wish to straighten your right leg to get a little bit of a hamstring opener, go for it. Take one more deep breath here. And then pull the knees in towards the body. Rock side to side. And we're going to bring it up to a seated position, however you see fit. Sitting up nice and tall in our seats. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Relax the face. Relax the jaw. Thank yourself for showing up today. Remind yourself of the intention that you set for the week. And then I wish you all namaste. Thank you so much for your participation today. It's always nice to see your names on my list. I look forward to seeing you every week. So I appreciate you always coming. Thank you, everybody.